there are two different kinds of partial insight. Partial insight is, first of all, let's say I see with depth the nature of sexual desire, sexual fantasy. I can see why sexual fantasy is taking place. I can see how it works, what its source is, and I see it very deeply. So partial insight is that I see something, a certain aspect, a certain illusion, and I see it very clearly. And when I see that, that changes my relationship with sexuality, with sexual desire. So that's a lightning related to one subject, one aspect: sexual fantasy, romantic clinging, addiction to food, anything. That's a very important kind of insight. Then the other partial insight is when I see some truth, let's say the self, the truth of the self. I see that the personal self doesn't exist. I see it, let's say, in expansion. I see it clearly. It's not shattering in a way that when I open my eyes, I can no longer have the sense of personal self. It only means that I have seen with clarity, and I could never, ever again say, I don't know the truth. I know, I have seen. I know there is no such thing as personal self. That's it. At least not as a deep reality. Then there is total insight. Total insight means that I see that there is no such thing as personal self, or I see, and I see the whole structure of thought, what it is made of, and this leads to a break that can never be healed again. It can never be recovered. There is no return to a sense of self. There is no return to the same identification with thought. It's something breaks, and that's it. You cannot return to it. It's with this very same totality that as children, we perhaps had our beloved pacifier or beloved blanket with which we walked around proudly. And then one day we realized that we don't even realize it's just left somewhere, and we don't even look at it again. So we never return to that pacifier. We never return to that blanket. So it's the very same totality that something breaks, we outgrow it, we never return to it. Does that require some form of cultivation? Well, as long as we are humans, as long as we are biological systems, everything requires cultivation. There's nothing that we can say, well, that's it. I don't need to cultivate anymore. Everything in this life requires cultivation. Everything. That's why great teachers continue to meditate and continue to go on retreats. Not because they need once again to realize that there is no self, not because they've forgotten it, but because let's say, conducting it well, enabling it to be a vivid, vibrant reality, there has to be cultivation. So if a teacher has forgotten that they don't have a personal self, then they're not teachers. We very much hope that they don't forget that. Otherwise, they are fooling themselves, of course, because they live with partial insight, and then they say, yes, I know that with clarity, I have no doubt, but it's not something that they know. Or in other words, it's not something that they are as a constant presence. Knowing is not enough. It's not that we can say, yes, I know that truth, because I've experienced it thousands of times, so I've seen it through insight. This doesn't work. We have to be what we know.